Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live on your Sunday morning. Hope you guys are well. My name is Louis Mendez. On this week's show, we'll be looking back at yesterday's opening day win up at Wigan Athletic. Joining me to look back at that game, two men who got in the early hours of the morning. First up, top right, Nathan Miller. How you doing, Nath?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Nice to be back. Had a summer full of hope and then ultimate disappointment. Went Charlton yesterday, had the first bit. Hopefully we don't have the second bit this year. But yeah, good to be back, mate. I see your lovely little faces.
Thank you very much indeed, as always. And bottom of the screen there, looking, I have to say, absolutely resplendent in the new away kit, which apparently got all sorts of stick for in the away end yesterday. Tom Walling, how you doing, Tom?
Yeah, just to make it clear, I didn't design this shirt. So any criticism that came my way is fine about the shirt, but I didn't design it. The other thing I got criticised for on Thursday was having a moody face, but this is just my face. So yeah, sorry about that. There's not a lot I can do, I'm afraid.
So, all right, yeah, so everything about the way Tom looks and dresses disappoints the viewers, but you know, there's very little we can. Maybe you could turn your camera off, Tom. Maybe that would be better for us.
Yeah.
Right. So on today's show, as I said, we'll look back at that 1-0 win over Wigan Athletic yesterday. We're going to hear from the manager, Nathan Jones. We're going to hear from the goal scorer, Lloyd Jones, as well. We want to hear from you guys too. Morning to everyone who's joining us live on YouTube. Graham says he woke up with a good feeling this morning. Excellent. I think we all did after yesterday's fine victory up at Wigan Athletic. We'll delve right into the details of it shortly, but you know, an opening day win on the road, a clean sheet as well. We didn't get too many of those last season either. Not a bad way to start the season. So yeah, get in contact with us. Leave your comments in the live chat on YouTube. You can tweet us at Charlton Live, or you can send us an email, studio@charltonlive.co.uk as well, if you want to have your say on yesterday's performance. Before we hear the goal then from Charlton TV, Nath, how would you sum that game up? I mean, the most important part of it is the fact that we got the 3 points. That's the be all and end all. But I mean, it was you always learn about your side, don't you, on a first game of a season, new players and all that coming together. And yeah, we saw bits and pieces that I guess we liked yesterday, and bits and pieces that we'll still hope to improve on.
Yeah, I think you could see the intensity a lot more in our play. I think the first game is hard, isn't it? I think because you're never really going to get a really polished performance the first game of the season. It's very rare anyway, because you're going to need. They're still gaining fitness, really. So maybe 4 or 5 games into the season, you start getting your rhythm. You know, partnerships are still being formed, but you know, Wigan aren't they're a tricky side to play against when that Matt Smith drops and creates overloads, and they want you to press. And then I think in the first half, there were a couple of times they got through quite easy because I think we were over eager. But as you say, mate, that the main thing was that we dug in, we defended the box really, really well. Clean sheet, unbelievable, unheard of. Forgot what that felt like. So absolutely unbelievable, to be honest. So great performance. Wasn't the most easy on the eye, but as you say, first game of the season, get three points away, tricky side, and then we go again on to next Saturday.
Excellent stuff. Right, well, let's have a listen back to the goal then from Charlton TV. Your commentators yesterday, Terry Smith and Peter Shirtliff.
Backwards, tees up Tane Watson. Watson lifts it into the penalty area, but it's going to be too close to the keeper. Just hung in the air. It might drop. It does to Jones! Lloyd Jones has scored for Charlton. The ball hung up in the air from the cross forward from Watson. I thought at first it was going to drift all the way through to the keeper. It sort of hung in the air around the penalty spot, and everybody missed it. And it ran through to Lloyd Jones, and it was a difficult finish. Going to get it onto his right foot, just cut it beyond the keeper to give Charlton the lead.
Yeah, he showed a good technique there, didn't he, with a difficult volley. But I was with you. I thought the ball going in was going straight through to the goalkeeper, but it did hang. And the Wigan defence just seemed to stand still. All credit to Jones, though. He did finish it fantastic.
It was a lovely cut finish.
Yeah, it was great.
So that's Tel and Peter Shirtliff on Charlton TV yesterday describing the goal. Great moment for us in a cagey game, Tom. Like sort of about 15 minutes from time, I was thinking, yeah, it feels like a nil-nil, doesn't it? Really, like a game where there weren't many chances. Which I guess when you go away from home, the fact that you're not giving up too many chances is always clearly a positive. But it didn't feel like we were going to win it either. So to get that bonus at the end really did actually turn it into quite a good day.
Yeah, I think Nathan and I were saying as we left the ground, if we'd have lost that game, we'd have felt pretty gutted. It felt like a draw was probably a fair result. I think on the balance of play, it was pretty even. As you say, we didn't give up a lot, we didn't create a lot. So to get the wins that little bit sweeter, and obviously the goal coming so late on. But I think going back to what we said on Thursday's show, the positives there, and obviously it's early days and it's one game, but the solidity of that defence, the organisation of that defence. Yes, they had to put a couple of last-ditch tackles in, Ramsey in particular, obviously, but largely they restricted them largely to kind of passing around the box and having to take shots from the edge of the box and getting our blocks in. And ultimately, we've kept a clean sheet, and that's very solid. So from that perspective, huge positives. And if we can build on that, then obviously that's great. I think on the other side of it, the lack of creativity, it's only one game, but the lack of creativity yesterday was a slight concern. It looked like we were kind of trying to soak up that pressure and then hit them on the break. But other than TC's pace, and I didn't really feel like he got in the game enough, there wasn't enough there. You're looking at Karoy, does he offer it? Gassan looked so slow. I don't know if that's just his pace naturally or if he's unfit, but some strikers aren't built for pace and that might not be his game. But I think if we are looking to sort of attack on the turnover, that's a slight concern at the moment. But look, the players are still getting up to fitness. We've got people like Berry and Godden, etc., to come back as well. And I thought when Kanu came on, he sort of hassled them a little bit as well. Leeburn obviously still to come back. So there's lots of options there, and I'm not going to be too negative about that. And I think being built on that solid defence is important because, as we said on Thursday's show, that was one of the big things we were struggling with last year. So yes, we need more creativity, but let's not forget we were away at a Wigan side who we expect to be up there. So it's going to be quite a tough game, and we still got away with the 3 points, even if it did come a bit fortuitously.
Yeah, I mean, Jay said it was a turd of a game, but 3 points or take another 45 of those, and you certainly would. Dan says, morning guys from sunny Turkey. It was a brilliant win yesterday. The defence looked solid. We just need them few remaining pieces of the jigsaw, and then we'd be good to go. I mean, we talk about the goal itself. In the Wigan defender who misplaced his header, was it Smith? Was it? Wouldn't want to see that again, Nath. But Lloyd Jones's finish was particularly impressive. The way it came to him, and it's quite a difficult chance. The way he sort of had to readjust his body and make sure he didn't sort of slash it over the bar, and he placed it really well.
Yeah, he did, to be fair. And I think like when you get a centre half in that position, it just requires that little bit of bravery to have a go, because naturally they're going to be either nodding it back into the danger zone for the strikers, or at least trying to get some contact on it. But yeah, it was a decent little finish. I mean, when he scored, I didn't actually know who. At first, I thought it was Doherty that scored initially. It was only when he was coming back that we realised it was Lloydie. But yeah, great little finish, and he's obviously he's a threat, and I think we do need to be a lot more of a threat at sort of crosses and set plays, which we weren't at all last year. But I think the physicality that we've got in that back three it's so good to see, because I think even the Doherty chance in the first half came through just one simple ball over the top and just the aggression to try and that will to try and get that ball. So I was enjoying it was not all one dimensional as well. Like we changed it up a bit. We went long. We tried doing diags and stuff. We tried different things, but if Lloydie can get 5 goals from set plays, because we've all said all season, with Alfie going, we need to replace those goals, and that needs defenders and midfielders to chip in, and obviously that's one off the mark for Lloydie. Yeah,
and it took a long time last season for us to have a defender score a goal. So yeah, that is a good point. As well, Emma's saying Tom doesn't want to take off that winning shirt. Oh, the boys were telling me about the amount of stick that Tom was getting in the away end just before we came on the show. I really wish I could have been there to join in, but it looks all right on Tom. Tom's wearing it quite nice, I think. Yeah, he's got the figure for it. Yeah, Chris saying I hope I'm proved wrong, but Gassan reminds me of Simon McKean. I mean, Spanfish was saying that Gassan looks like the new Cole Leeburn. He says Nathan loves a big selfless runner. Yeah, and we certainly saw lots of running in that first half. Like I say, not many chances in the first period, but I don't think we can emphasise too much how important that clean sheet is for us. to get one so early. I mean, we had one on the first day of the season last season, but there weren't many moments where I felt concerned. There were maybe 2 or 3 at the start of the second half. We've talked about that Kane Ramsey challenge where Wigan played through us and Asgard was through. That was a wonderful challenge. There was a good one from Josh Edwards at the far post. There was the one ADDICKS should have scored. I think it came to him about 6 yards out. So there were some moments, but it did feel like there were games last season where it felt like we could get overrun quite comfortably, and it didn't feel like that was happening as much yesterday, Tom.
I don't think so. No, I think it was a pretty 50-50 game, as I said earlier, and I think you go away to a team like Wigan in this division, they're gonna create some chances. They're the home side, they're a pretty good side, they're expected to be up there. So conceding chances is going to happen either way. It's how you deal with that. And as I say, the majority of them, they were blocked on the edge of the area. As Chris Davins just said, how much did Mannion actually have to do? I agree that one in the middle where the ball sort of bobbled around and he didn't really get a good connection on it. If he does, he probably scores. But he didn't, and so we could go around in circles with all of those sorts of chances. So yeah, it's early days. There's 2 new defenders in there, sort of settling in, a centre back and a left wing back to sort of slot in, and I thought they both did well. Edwards in particular, as everybody's saying. So yeah, we've got to figure this out now. And as I said on Thursday, if Nathan's going to stick to a shape, if largely he's going to stick to a back 5 or 6, if you include the keeper, personnel-wise, and we'll have to see what happens with Mannion and whether Thierry Small is somebody who rotates in on the left, in particular those 2 positions. Then if we can keep that consistency, it's something I know I've banged on about for years on this pod, then we've got half a chance. And you go away to Wigan, probably Nathan Jones's first thing is let's try not to concede, because then we'll come back down to London with a point. That's probably what he said to them. And maybe we'll get a bit of luck at the other end. And that's exactly what happened. As I said, we're going to need to build on that creativity, and particularly against the teams that start to sit back against us. And we're going to need to create more, particularly at home, obviously. But that's for another day. We went up there. We did what we needed to do. Yes, they had a little bit of luck. Yes, they dominated the ball. But they didn't create a lot of chances. And we've come back with 3 points, which is all that matters, really.
Yeah, certainly. As Spam said, Ramsey was great. Edwards looked class. The whole defence did. TC looks like a new player. Could have a breakout season. Midfield looks more dynamic already. I don't want to get too excited though. And TC was playing through illness yesterday as well, actually, which I didn't realise till Nathan said after the game. Shiny Phil says he thought it was a good team effort yesterday. Fine performances all round. And Josh Edwards, wow. I thought Josh Edwards was excellent yesterday. Nathan, I made him my man of the match. I hinted on Thursday that I think he's ahead of Small in a couple of areas like that, and I think we saw that with that performance yesterday. He stood out, and the amount of tackles he won on that left hand side. Again, maybe we'll see more from him coming forward as the season progresses. But defensively, he looked so solid yesterday.
Yeah, agree completely, mate. I think obviously the game yesterday dictated that he wasn't able to get as forward as much because they're little that. The right winger that was literally hugging the touch line, and they were doing diags all day long. I'd rather it 1v Josh than against Macca. But yeah, defensively brilliant. It's so nice to see someone actually close down a cross. Like the amount of time, how many crosses did we let in our box last season that led to a goal? It was unbelievable. So, he's got high determination, high work rate. And as you say, I think different games, as Tom just said, people playing a low block, you're probably going to see him higher up the pitch. But yesterday's game dictated that he needed to be a little bit more balanced, a little bit more cautious. But I thought that, yeah, he was my man of the match as well. Harsh on Lloyd, I know, but first, debut, tricky away tie, tricky little winger he's up against. I thought he'd done brilliantly. So, yeah, I think that the wing backs is going to be interesting because I can't see it's going to be hard to ask for Josh and Calvin to do Saturday, Tuesday every single week. So I think you're going to see a lot of rotation between Tene and Thierry as well. So, but yeah, absolute brilliant start from Josh.
Mark says, morning lads, first thing, a big away win away from home and a clean sheet. Let's talk about Ramsey tackle. That was like scoring a goal. How good is Josh Edwards, and what a finish from Lloyd Jones. And he's right. I mean, that Ramsey tackle, watching it back on the highlights this morning, I mean, Asgard took too long, but that's part of football. Is when your opponent gives you an opportunity to do something, then you have to take advantage. And again, how many times last season did players. I remember that goal that I think Derby scored at the Valley, where it felt, or no, was it Peterborough, where we were tracking back, but it felt like he had an age to get a shot off, and we didn't take advantage of them delaying. But Ramsey did that yesterday and timed it to perfection. So I mean, moments like that, just to start the season with little positive moments for players like that, feels like it could be so important to lift that level of confidence going into the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, and I can't remember how much Ramsey played at the back end of last season. In my head, it wasn't a huge amount, but I remember every time we did see him, we were impressed with him. And so to kick off this season with a pretty solid performance and a sort of standout tackle like that is great. And yeah, when he went through, we're so used to seeing them score and all the Charlton players turn around. And how many times did we see last season? They all look at each other and all sort of throw their hands in the air and no one G's them all up. And I was waiting for that. I was ready for that. And then I was thinking, okay, well, Mannion, let's see what you're made of now. And he wasn't even needed. It was brilliant recovery. As you say, he took an age, but you've got to take your opportunity when they presented to him. And yeah, it was a brilliant tackle. And not only that, but then to sort of for the defenders to then get around it and make sure there was no follow-up as well. It's not just the tackle itself, it's that whole passage of play. Yeah, hugely important. And again, that little moment is the difference between us getting 3 points and one. And at the end of the season, if we are sort of up in that top six, those fine margins can be the difference between second or third or sixth or seventh. So yeah, every little bit like that is huge. And that's what I think you're going to get from a Nathan Jones side. He's just going to eke every little bit out of every player. We saw him get booked, didn't we, for sprinting halfway down the touchline to slag someone off for taking a bad throw. Like, he's not going to give them an inch, and he shouldn't. That is their job. But, last season we heard maybe they were unfit at the start of the season. Appleton couldn't really motivate them. You're not getting that with Jones. You see, he just can't let them, can he? If he's going to be that animated on the touchline, he needs them to deliver that on the pitch, and they did yesterday to a man.
Yeah, I somehow managed to miss what Nathan got booked for. I must have been typing up notes or something, doing a report online. I just saw him getting booked. It sounds like I missed an absolute classic there, but I can fully picture it, because that is exactly the sort of character that Nathan Jones is. I mean, the celebrations at full time in front of the away end, he really does wear his heart on his sleeve. But I know we're talking about whether that was acting when Michael Appleton said it last season. It is acting for certain people, but if it comes so naturally like it does to Nathan, then it's not. That is just who he is. He's mad as a box of frogs, but he'll try and portray that and try and get his team to sort of act almost in his image with the energy he has on the touchline. Good point from All Hell Let Loose. Says not many teams will take 3 points away from Wigan. So I mean, when I was doing the stats before the game, like Wigan, I think they're about third or fourth in terms of home wins last season. There weren't many sides who won more at home than them. Obviously, they were in a slightly false position because they had that 8-point deduction last year. What we don't know is how good they are this year, but based on one game, the Wigan fans around where I was sat in the press box, they clapped their team off. And I think if I was a Wigan fan, I would have clapped that performance off. I thought they played well. They had half chances here and there. They would have been reasonably pleased with that. I thought Matt Smith in the middle for them obviously looks a very different player to the Matt Smith we had a lot earlier on in his career, and was very involved, keeping things ticking over. And I think overall, that wasn't a bad performance from Wigan, which makes it more impressive that we stood up to it and then went and nicked it, Nave. So, the first game of the season, you don't know where everyone's going to finish. You can't, if Wigan finish 24th and we come away and that's our only away win of the season, we'll look very silly. But it felt like that was a win against a side that will probably be pushing, top half this season.
Yeah, I think so. I think, as you say, that they're very comfortable on the ball, and I know it's what you do with the ball as well. But as a Wigan fan, you couldn't have fault their effort. It was literally a close game, and Charlton took their moment, and Wigan didn't. With Theo Asgard, it was Theo Asgard who was 1-on-1, wasn't it? So Theo scores, then it's a different game then, and then they go on probably and win 1-0. So it's just one of those fine margins early in the season. I thought it was a good lot of energy in there. There was a lot of people cramping up, a lot of subs at the same time, which you can expect early on in the season. But I think, it's just, you can't read too much into it. Like, we've got, last year we won 1-0, done that big old celebration with Dean Holden, and then he was, got his Spanish mate old elbow after about 5 games later or whatever, didn't he? So anything can change, but it's you've got to take the positives from it. We can't sit there and grumble, it wasn't pretty all, in 90 minutes. It never is going to be. And as Tom says, we don't have no divine right just because we've made some good signings that we're going to batter people 5-0. This is a tough league, and we've got to earn the right to play. And you can see the industry in the team now, which is a lot more than what we had at points last year, a lot more. So we take the positives, and hopefully we can build on it. But we're just trying to, just be a bit cautious, not get too ahead of ourselves after one game. But we've got to enjoy the wins and enjoy waking up on Sunday, where it's actually nice to know that we didn't concede a goal or a last-minute goal or whatever, which we're doing loads of times last season.
Yeah, exactly. Well, whilst we're here not getting ahead of ourselves, Paul Davenport has nicknamed Josh Edwards the Kilmarnock Cafu. Another one to add to the roll call of great Scottish players who've put on the Charlton shirt, Mark Reed vibes. Says Ramsey was also immense. Yeah, and Scott saying Josh Edwards was man of the match, nullified the threat going forward and creating gaps in behind. Same with Ramsey, perfect away performance. We will have fluidity at home, and that is obviously the big question. I mean, Chris says we created nothing, so better that we won anyway. I mean, Liam said if Doc had scored in the first 10 minutes, it could have been a very different first half. And yeah, maybe. Like, watch back that chance. He just couldn't get the shot off before Tickle sort of closed him down with those big, long, wavy arms he's got, Mr. Tickle. But we do have to talk about the fact that, at half time, I was thinking, yeah, we're not creating much through that midfield. Is there going to be chance creation? At times in that second half, probably actually about 5 minutes before we scored, or maybe slightly just before TC had that run, I was thinking, right, who's going to take the game by the scruff of the neck today and create a chance out of nothing? Now, obviously, we're in a different formation now, but I was thinking, like, at stages last season, if nothing was happening, Corey would pick up the ball and run and do something. And I was looking in that side and thinking, other than TC, when he was having a better day than he did yesterday, no one really in that side strikes me as someone who could create some sort of magic out of nothing. So there will still be that element as we go into this season, Tom, of, will we have enough goal scoring chances? Obviously there's no Matt Godden yesterday, which might have made a difference as well, but will there be enough of that special sort of factor in the midfield and the forwards to create things out of nothing and break down sides if they are being difficult to sort of get through? And that is still a question I think Nathan will be asking himself for the rest of the transfer window as it stands.
Yeah, and if we're going to look to improve the squad, then maybe that's what he will do. As you say, we haven't seen enough of Berry. Obviously, he came on briefly yesterday. We haven't seen anything of Godden. Haven't seen anything of Leeburn. So there are players to come in those attacking positions. As I said, I didn't think TC had his best game, certainly in that first half, and we know what he can offer. So I do think across the squad there are those options, but also I think we haven't necessarily got that one pacey player who's going to do something like that. And you're right. I think a couple of the guys we were with turned around and looked at the fan base sort of the last couple of minutes, that first half, and just said, look, everyone looks so bored. And it was a pretty dull first half. And we did.
Are we sure they weren't just looking at your face again, just for clarity here?
Yeah. No, they all had sunglasses on because the shirt was too bright. But yeah, I think that will come. I think that will come. It's still a new team. They're still gelling. You look at that midfield. Obviously, Coventry didn't play a huge amount last year. I know Karoy played a lot of football, but he's not played with Doherty at all and played with Coventry very, very little. TC was playing wide last year. Now he's playing through the middle. These are players that are adapting to new positions. Obviously, Edwards coming in, brand new. Ramsey, as I say, didn't play a lot last year. So you look at all across the pitch, wherever we're getting creativity, whether it's width, whether it's through the middle, whether it's up top, they're all doing something very slightly different to what they were doing before. So that's going to take time. And Wigan away probably isn't the game to be going, all guns blazing and trying to do that. Maybe Orient at home is. I know they lost yesterday, but again, it's just one game. So we'll see. We'll see. They can test something out against Birmingham possibly on Tuesday night as well, although I expect there'll be a lot of rotation. So look, we've got to just find our way into the season. It's one game. I think we've got to look at the positives from yesterday. I don't think there's too much point in coming away and saying, well, we lack creativity. Well, we didn't do this. Do you know what? We went up to Wigan away and we won 1-0. And if I'd have known that was going to happen when I was getting on the coach at 9:30 in the morning, I'd have absolutely taken it. So, yeah, I think focus on the positives. Nathan will look at the gaps in his squad and I'm sure he'll add to it if he needs it. And as we said on Thursday, I think we're better stocked than we were last year and that could be enough. But I do think we probably need one or two more. But yeah, I'm not worried at this stage about the creativity. That will come. I'm sure of it.
No, I was thinking out loud now. So we obviously we went to Wigan and won last season. That was my one of my funny stats from yesterday. Is that it's the second season in a row that our first away win has come at Wigan. Apart from this one was on the 10th of August and not the 31st of October. And also we've equalled the amount of clean sheets we kept on the road last season on day one because we only had the 0-0 at Shrewsbury. But the performance, the type of game we won yesterday, right? So consistency is an interesting question there. So we went to Wigan last season and it probably summed up our entire season in that 90 minutes because for probably about 75 of them we were absolutely class. Like, out of this world, scored 3 quality goals in the first half. But then our Jekyll and Hyde side came out yesterday and it was just a to-in and throw-in game. We conceded twice late on last season, that is. And this season, I'd be more comfortable if we won 9-10 away games like yesterday rather than what we did last season, which was win 3 with some crazy good 45 minutes here and there, but actually we were just way too all over the shop in terms of inconsistency. If Nathan can make us play like we did yesterday, 9-10 times away from home and pick up wins like that, I just think that feels like a more sustainable way to try and be. Then we'd go away and we'd nick points as well. Like we had a lot of draws on the road last season, but I feel like we'd be nicking points in games that we'd have a chance of winning rather than vice versa, which I think we had last season. But it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, Michael said defensively we were good, but he didn't think Wigan were that good. He thought the goal came from nowhere. Still not sure where our main attacking threats are coming from. And Jonathan says Wigan dominated the ball, but they had no end product. So a clean sheet, though, wouldn't have happened last season. Rather us get better defensively than build going forward. And that's what I think I'm saying about yesterday. Like, it felt more like a clean sheet was likely than in a lot of the games away from home last season, where, like I say, we didn't keep one, but it was because it was because consistently over the 90 minutes we didn't give up too many chances, which is nice. Right, Sam says you've got a lovely face, Tom. I'd put money on Edwards for Player of the Season. It's going to have to be something special to keep Thierry Small out as well. Chris Reader says Ahadme Shinzuma. Right, we're still getting to learn about Ahadme. Finchy says Alex Mitchell won a few dominating headers. Nice to see a Charlton head win them. Felt like it's been years. Yeah, I mean, he probably hasn't been spoken about much yesterday. But Lloyd Jones, who we'll hear from later in the show, was very positive about Alex Mitchell. Obviously took that bash to the head in the first half and had to wear that bandage. What did you make of him yesterday, Nate? One of our debutants.
I thought he done well. And I think, as Finchy just said, I think it's nice for us to be aggressive and show that real willingness to defend. Again, I go back to last year. So many times we had goals conceded because we just didn't look like we enjoyed defending or attacking the ball from crosses or corners or whatnot. So yeah, it's nice to see some people. Yeah, albeit I hope his head's all right, but needs must. You're a centre half. You should be brave. You should be aggressive. And I thought we done really well yesterday. Same as Macca. He does sort of annoy me sometimes, Macca, but I thought he done okay yesterday, to be fair. So yeah, I just think we just look a lot more resolute, which I think everyone's saying. We're going to be harder to play. And yeah, on your point in terms of the games this year, I would be amazed if we get thumped at all. I know that's a bold statement. I'm not saying we won't. I'm not saying we're going to win every game, but I will be amazed if we get thumped. Whereas last year we could go 1-0 down. Tom said it already. People just walking off, not even pointing fingers. I don't think Nathan will let that happen. I think we'll always be in games, and I think it's just nice to see that all fans really want to see is people put in 100% in, be aggressive, be positive. And yeah, we might not have the most best players in the world, but that's the minimum. And I think that's what we're going to get with Nathan. And we defended as a unit yesterday, which again, last year, we were so disjointed in so many games. So as Finchy said, yeah, it's great to see us attacking the ball, defending as a team and being progressive.
Yeah, well, now that Nathan's promised we're not going to get thumped at all this season, I look forward to losing 7-0 at home to Leyton Orient on Saturday. Yeah, Jonathan Campbell talks about that Edwards header at the far post, which I thought was excellent. Sam's saying about Edwards and Mitchell feeling like a massive improvement. Well, let loose saying Tom's doing his best impression of a sherbet dib-dab. He's getting all sorts of stick for owning that away kit. It's trying to work out what colour it is. I was saying this to someone yesterday. So we can see with Tom wearing it here, it's sort of like a pale yellow, almost cream. Because in the picture that got leaked, I thought it was like going to be the ecru one. Like, because I would have loved some of that. But yeah. Spamfish says no Hector to have a sulk before the goals had gone in yesterday. I mean, that's defensively we looked like a much better unit yesterday, which is positive. I noticed Terrell Thomas started for Carlisle away at Gillingham yesterday, and to be fair to him, they only lost 4-1, so actually it went pretty well considering all things considered there. Yeah, live life to the full, talking about Sean Maloney's. I haven't had a chance, but it sounds like he was relatively positive about it. I think someone said he predicted us to finish top 2. Which, to be fair, I think Richie Wellens said that after Leyton Orient lost at the Valley on the first day last season. As I said to Dave Victor at some point during, I think on Boxing Day, so it shows what Richie Wellens knows about football, doesn't it? But yeah, I look forward to reigniting that little rivalry ahead of Saturday. And then just finally, before we hear the interview, I mean, Sam said, would you like to have seen the subs a bit earlier? So they came on, I think the 70-minute mark, the first ones came on for us. It was the triple sub, wasn't it? Carney and EK and Watson coming on. And I was thinking, like, around that time, maybe about 5 minutes before, I was thinking, right, I wonder if he's going to make his move soon, because you felt Wigan growing into it at the start of the second half. But especially with an EK, we know sort of the timing is quite important of when you bring him on, and I guess you could say it worked out for the best in the end because we went on to win the game. But again, timing of substitutions will be very interesting as the season progresses. Right, I think we're going to go and hear the interview with the Addicks boss, Nathan Jones. Now, we've still got loads of your messages to come to. Keep them coming. studio@charltonlive.co.uk if you want to email us at Charlton Live on Twitter, or as most people are doing, just send us a message in the live chat on YouTube. That's where I'm most likely to pick it up, because that's the screen I'm staring at. Let's have a listen to what the Addicks boss, Nathan Jones, had to say after yesterday's victory up at Wigan. I caught up with him pitchside at the Brick Community Stadium. Nathan, congratulations, opening day win here at Wigan. How did you see it today?
Look, it's hard fought win. I mean, they're a very tricky side to play. How they play, they got real good structure. They're well coached. Cause you problems in their own half in terms of, we want to be aggressive, we want to press, but they're good. They can get out your press if you're not at it. I thought the game was won in both boxes. I thought we were outstanding in our own box, and then we got the goal in theirs. I thought we could have been a little bit better, a little bit more fluent in possession. But look, we're away from home. It's a 5:30 kick-off. We've had a massive journey up there yesterday, 6.5 hours. So let's take all those things into consideration. And as I said, I thought we looked energetic. And as I said, the clean sheet away from home, can't ask for more.
Yeah, is that what pleases you most? A away win and a clean sheet are two things that Charlton struggled for last season.
Absolutely. And look, we've got to start. We know we're not going to dominate every game. We know that the valleys are going to be big for us, but we've got to make sure when we are away from home, we are picking up points, we are picking up wins, we're going to come up against some well-coached sides who cause you problems. And I thought today structurally we were very good. Out of possession, we really went after them and were brave in terms of that. I just probably the only disappointment is that we didn't cause them more problems with our play.
Don't see many centre halves who can finish like that. I don't think I've seen Lloyd do that before.
Well, look, Lloyd only played 4 games for me last year, but he scored. He was the only one to score from set play last year. So it's good that he's got that against, albeit second phase. But look, we take any wins how they come, and there'll be teams that are fluent, teams that think. But at times you just got to make sure. And this is a tough place to come. They will outplay, outpass, outscore a lot of teams here. So for us to score on the opening day, to win the game and to keep a clean sheet is a big thing for us.
First competitive game with a new 11. What did you learn about your side today?
Well, look, I learned that they give me everything. They work hard. I think we're going to be better defensively than we were last year in terms of that. And then look, we still need a few additions because we're not, we've got the full quota of what we have. But I was pleased. TC was ill today, but we played him. So we know we've got a lot of work to do, but look, we've got a structure, we've got a way of playing, and they believe in that, and that's the good thing.
How important was it to get off to a good start, considering the aims you have for this season?
Absolutely. Well, look, you want to win as many games as you possibly can. You want to win every game, but that's not going to be possible. So you've got to make sure that you are, in a good place and things. You've got to pick up wins. This is a tough place to come. First game of the season, away from home, and we've got 3 points. You'd have taken that all day long. If someone had said to me you can have 1-0 win, I wouldn't have even got on the bus. I would have just taken it. You know what I mean? And so I'm very pleased that we've managed to achieve that.
Just in terms of the team news, obviously Matt didn't make it in the end. Matt Godden, what was up with him in the end?
He's got tight hamstrings, so we're just not risking it. There's no point travelling up here, as you said. Friday afternoon traffic. You're coming up here from from London to Wigan, you're looking at 6.5, 7 hours. He would just been detrimental. Then with the game Tuesday, game Saturday, there's no point. We've got the strength that we need, strength in depth that we need, so we didn't risk him really.
In the game Tuesday, are you expecting to use your squad, make a few changes for a cup game?
Well, we want to be strong because I said first 3 games of the season now and stuff. Then we got a little bit of a break. We're going to need good energy because Birmingham are another wonderful side. We've got a real tough start in terms of everything. Birmingham are a real tough side, but it's a cup and we've got to trust the squad. So we'll see. We'll dust ourselves down. I'll make sure that we'll be tactically right for those, and then we'll go from there.
Just finally, just in terms of transfer movement, are you expecting anything soon? Are we at that stage where it's more likely to head towards the end of the month?
Well, we've got to do a bit of business out before we can do in. So that's the thing. But we've just got to make sure that we are, that we're in a position to do that when the opportunity arises.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the river. See you soon.
Right, welcome back to Charlton Live. Just before the adverts there, we heard from the Addicks boss, Nathan Jones, after yesterday's opening day 1-0 win up at Wigan Athletic. Just on the adverts, I mean, if you want to run an advert for your company on Charlton Live, get in touch. We've got some good deals for you, and like I say, you get loads of views on that. So get in touch with us if you think that would benefit you and your company. Later on in the show, we're going to hear from Lloyd Jones. Don't forget, we're still hearing from you guys, as I've got loads of your comments have come in after yesterday's 1-0 win. Let us know what you made of the performance. What pleased you most? Is there anything that surprised you about yesterday's performance or side as well? That would be. Is there anything we weren't expecting that came out of yesterday? I guess would be an interesting discussion point. We're going to hear from Lloyd Jones later on, as I said. We're also we are going to talk about the Sky TV deal, because I mean, I got in at about 1:45, I think, 1:30. Like I think I saw Terry got in like nearly 3. Like the stupid kickoff times. Like when it was affecting Premier League fans, I didn't really care, but now it's affecting me. I have a strong opinion on it. So let us know how you found it yesterday. It sounds like the TV cut out as well yesterday, so everyone who was watching at home didn't even get to enjoy the last few moments. So not a great start for Sky. So let us know what you made as that as well. And we'll look ahead to the Birmingham game at the end as well. What sort of side would you like us to put out? That sort of stuff. And what did you make of Nathan's reaction then yesterday? Other Nathan, he was obviously. I think he spoke about how he wanted to see a bit more quality on the ball. I think we've all said that. We're not saying that was a rip roaring performance yesterday. It was one when we got the job done. There were certainly elements to improve upon, but I mean, you could tell he was delighted with how it played out overall yesterday, and to come away with a win on. If we are serious about doing anything this season, then getting off to a good start, I think, was vital, considering it is quite a difficult start we've got as well.
Yeah, I think if you put everything in perspective, well, if I do, you've got a good team in terms of Wigan, keep the ball very well. They want you to press. We were off it sometimes. We were very industrious. We weren't really easy on the eye, but we won 1-0 away from home. And if you're going to do anything in this league, you're not going to have 60% possession every single game and score 5 every game. You're going to have to do the ugly side of the game sometimes, and that's what we did yesterday. So I think, as Tom mentioned earlier, I think the creativity will come. I still think I don't know, I said before the game, there's something in that side that's missing, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's pace. I don't know if it's that little bit of that nous. I don't know, because obviously I think the midfield 3 is very, very hard working. That's to me is an away sort of midfield. I just think there's going to be times where we're going to need something more, like you said as well, Lou. Someone who's going to take the game by the scruff of the neck and do something a bit magical. You know, I'm not expecting us to sign Messi, but just something to give us a little bit of a different dimension. Because at points yesterday, I thought we were too one-dimensional. I think Gasson wasn't really fit. We weren't really getting him up to speed to try and press. TC was ill. So we were just a little bit disjointed, but that's not slating any of the teams. I thought we'd done okay. But I think that will come in time. But I can't really fault what Nathan said, really. I think before the game, I would have taken a draw all day. I would have taken a 0-0 before the game, if I'm being honest. But So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting what he does on Tuesday. I would imagine he'd probably ring the changes. I would, because I think people are cramping up. Not one player, I don't think, done 90 minutes in pre-season, so that's always going to happen for them to build their minutes up.
Yeah, Tom, would you like to share who you just put in the private chat as a player who you think could become our pivot going forward this season?
I mean, I think people know who I'm thinking of, but he did score yesterday as well. So yeah, I see lots of people.
Sam Lavelle, was it Sam Lavelle? Was it?
No, Deji Oshalaja was who I was thinking actually. So yeah.
Yeah, no, he's put Johnny Williams in the chat. I think he's pulling our leg there. There's a good tweet just come in from Dino. It says Wigan are one of our main competitors for a top 6 place this season, so it's a massive away win. Defensively, we were excellent, and the pressing was great. The quality coming from the bench will be telling for us, but Nathan Jones must make these changes sooner. So someone else who said maybe it's subs a bit sooner. He also said that Edwards was an absolute star, which I think we all agree with as well. I mean, there was someone made the point in the chat. I'll just try and find it. I've lost it. But someone said apparently Maloney made us second favourites behind. Dave Tripp. There we go. Says Maloney made us second favourites behind Birmingham in his post-match interview. Thoughts? Now, I don't have us as second favourite. I don't have us as top 2 contenders. I think Dino's saying if Wigan being a competitor for a top 6, if we are going up this year, I think it'll be through the playoffs. Managers always big up the opponent they've just lost to make them look less bad. That's just the way it goes, Tom. But the top 6 competitors, is that where we are? Is it too early to say with any real certainty? I mean, I said during the week, I said I think top 10, and then hope we push for a top 6. That's probably where I'm still feeling. But like I say, I thought Wigan looked all right yesterday as well. So the fact we did go and beat them is a good sign.
Yeah, I think I said on Thursday's show, there's probably 9 or 10 teams, and they're probably going to finish in the top 10. I just don't know what order, and I think any order wouldn't largely surprise me. So there's every chance we could go and win this league, but I think that's probably less likely. I do think we're probably going to be around the playoffs. It's just whether we sneak in it or not. I mean, Birmingham, obviously heavy favourites with the money they spent. Rotherham have obviously got Steve Evans, who is going to be good at this level. I think Bolton, they're kind of looking at this as this is their time now. Wigan, as you say. So there's probably 4, 5, 6 teams all vying for those top 2 places. I don't know if we're quite in that bracket yet. We're probably just in that slight level below. But who knows? Birmingham obviously struggled a little bit yesterday. But again, it's opening day of the season, so I just don't think we can read enough into it yet. I think what Charlton Live says is right about the kind of the way that we can dig in and see games out. And you were saying it yourself, Lou, look, if we can go and put a performance like that in and grind those results out, puts us in a much better position than winning the odd game 4-0, but losing 3 or 4 of them by the same scoreline. And I agree with you both. I don't think we're that sort of side now. So coming up against these teams, it's can we, make that 6-point swing by taking 3 points off these teams, and then we've got to then go and do the business against the teams that will start to become the weaker ones in the division. And so long as that's not us, which it obviously has been for a couple of years, then we'll be pushing for it. I'd be very surprised, obviously delighted if we finish in the top 2, but I do think playoffs is obviously the aim, and I think it's achievable.
Yeah, and James says top 10 is abject failure. I agree with that, by the way. I just think that's where I'm not confident enough to say that we are definitely a top 6 side. Which obviously means we need Nathan Jones to manage us to be better than the sum of our parts overall. We need perhaps the final pieces of the jigsaw in the rest of the transfer window, that sort of stuff. But like I say, I think we look like a top 10 side, hopefully, based on what we've seen so far. But how many times have we said that after one game of the season and look very silly? Hopefully we'll be better than that. I mean, Mark saying he doesn't think that Birmingham will win the league. Well, we don't know. They struggled yesterday until I can't remember who it was who scored an equaliser. I've never heard of the bloke, but someone scored really late on for them yesterday. Who feels like the sort of bloke who could make the difference between going up and not going up. So yeah, we'll see about that. All hell let loose. Thought that Huddersfield winning 2-0 at Posh yesterday made a bit of a statement as well. Right, let's hear from yesterday's goal scorer. It's still got loads of your comments to come to. Still got loads of stuff to talk about in terms of the Sky TV deal. Let us know what time you got home yesterday, because like I say, we got home really late and it did sort of take the edge off the day. That, and I broke my sunglasses pretty much bang on full time. Pretty much as soon as the full-time whistle went, I leant forward, they fell down and smashed. I was like, for God's sake, like, is that a sign that that's going to be our only away win this season or something? But yeah, let us know. Let's hear from Lloyd then. Lloyd Jones, star, of course, of Love Undercover. I spoke to him after yesterday's win. He took time out of his busy schedule appearing on TV to score a winning goal for the Addicks up at Wigan. Lloyd, congratulations scoring the winning goal on the opening day of the season. How did that feel?
Yeah, it felt amazing. I think I shot myself a little bit going in, but yeah, what a feeling to come away from home and win 1-0, special result in football.
What's going through your mind as that ball sits up? It's quite a difficult one to try and angle in.
Well, I had a similar one last week against Portsmouth, ended up crossing it, and I thought, why don't I shoot? So I just thought, it come to me, and I just thought, I'm just going to try and get the best contact on it, and thankfully it went in the goal.
What pleased you most then today out of the clean sheet and the goal?
Clean sheet, and obviously the win. The gaffer said before, wanted 3 things. If we could do 2 of them, we'll win the game. That was clean sheet, score first and win the game, and we managed to do all 3. So a really good day.
The clean sheets was something that Charlton found hard to come by last season. So good to get one on the opening day today.
Yeah, massively. And these aren't a bad side. The way they play football, and but Josh Edwards at the back post, Alex Mitchell, Maka, the whole back line. Just defended brilliantly. Yeah,
we saw Mitchell had to walk around with a bandage on his head, so people were putting their bodies on the line to protect that clean sheet today.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do if you want to keep clean sheets and be successful. So Mitch is a great addition, a great lad as well. So I'm sure we'll have a class season.
Nathan was saying how pleased he was with how well structured Charlton looked today. So how hard do you have to work to get like that?
Yeah, really hard. But he's since he's come in, he's drilled it into us. And if you do it right, we're a very hard team to break down. We probably wasn't good enough on the ball today, but I think that will come. But the main thing is, if you can keep clean sheets, you're always going to be give yourself the best chance.
Considering the targets that the Charlton will be setting themselves this season, how important was it to get off to a good start like today?
Yeah, we haven't got the easiest starts, but if we want to be up there, we need to pick up results home and away. I don't think we've done that enough away last season, but again, it's a new team, new squad, and a new season. So not to look back, we just want to look forward.
Yeah, Nathan's shown his faith in you. He's given you the vice captain role. How does it feel to be backed by the manager like that?
Yeah, no, it's, I'm really pleased. I'm glad he's putting his faith into me, and I want to give it back as well.
How are you feeling? Because obviously you had a lot of time off towards the end of the season to settle your injury. How are you feeling going into this one?
Oh yeah, it was a frustrating one, but I had a talk with the manager, and I worked really hard in the off season. Thought I'd come back in the best shape I possibly could, and hopefully I can see the benefits coming towards it now. Definitely feel better than coming in last season with no pre-season, put it that way.
Yeah, I remember there was a stage last season where you felt like you were probably going through it a little bit, which you hadn't done before. How hard is it to react to that and to come out the other side?
Yeah, it was hard. I think there's no excuses from my side, but I found it hard coming in with no pre-season and then finding my fitness in last season, and I thought I was doing all right, but obviously I had a bit of a rough patch. But since the gaffer come in, I feel like he puts trust in me, and I think I'm chanting away good performances. So like I said, just worked as hard as I could in the off season to come back as fit as I could, and then hopefully it'll just stand me in good stead.
Just away from today, how are you finding your newfound fame after being on your TV show?
How did I know a question like that was coming? Listen, that was done 2 years ago. It was in my off time. It was just an opportunity that come. And you want to look after yourself as well as you can, because you never know what's around the corner in football. But my main focus is Charlton, and football will always be the number one in my life.
What sort of experience was it? Obviously, it's very different to what you do on a day to day, but you got to take an opportunity to do something like that if it comes along.
Well, yeah, I've just done it for the money, if I'm being really honest. If I'm being totally honest. But yeah, no, it was obviously see a different side of life. But I'm a footballer, and number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is in my life is football. So, it was a great experience. I enjoyed it, but bottom line is I'm a footballer, and that's all I've wanted to do since I've been young. So it remains that way.
There we go, Lloyd Jones. I took it in good spirit. I think when I asked him the question, he was a bit defensive slightly at first, but it was just he said the reason why he did it. But obviously, more important to talk about the football. I think that the bit I found most interesting when I spoke to him yesterday, obviously, Nath, was overall he was probably our best defender last season. Maybe I'd probably. I don't know. I'd rake over old coals there, but he did have a phase, didn't he? Do you remember sort of around the time that Appleton was getting the elbow, he had a couple of moments where he didn't close down. Then he was dropped by Curtis Fleming ahead of the Blackpool game, had to come on at half time and made a big howler. And I remember seeing him after that game, and he was a bit distressed. Like he just didn't know what was happening at that moment in time. So what he did have to do was recover from that. And as we know, he didn't play a great deal in the second half of last season, but he did come back and look better before the injury, and he's come back yesterday and looked good as well. So that sort of character, players have to go through that at times, and it looks like he's come out the other side now. I'm hoping, which will be a positive. And I mean, the backing you get from the manager to be given the vice captain's role, that's pretty huge for him as well. So hopefully that will help him flourish again this season and be the player that I think we know he probably can be. When he wasn't making those mistakes in that stage last season, he looked like he was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to Marbella and he wasn't really training. So in the open training session, he didn't train as much as the others. So, and we knew he was carrying an injury. And as you say, that Blackpool game, being up there, that's when after the game he put his hand up to the fans, wasn't it? Mm. And you could tell in his face that he was struggling. But at that point in time, we needed him to play because we couldn't just, I know Curtis did in the end, but we couldn't just drop him and bring someone in really amazing and let him sit out because we didn't have that. And we were going through a bad run and it was toxic. So I think all of those little situations just compounded and it probably got to him. And we got to remember, he's still fairly young, like most footballers are mid-20s, and that's still quite young as a person, and you've got a lot to deal with. So I was pleased for him yesterday. Massive faith from Nathan to give him the vice captaincy, which I think he is a bit of a leader. And I think that's probably boosted him. And you can tell on his face after he scored, he had a little celebration in the corner, came over the halfway line, little fist pump. And then after the game as well, loved it. So really, really happy for him. And then, hopefully it sets him up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Sue says, I think it's a great strength of character to come back like he has. I love his honesty and how mentally he must have had to work so hard. A couple of people saying they like the look of Mitchell yesterday. Chris saying he thought he looked good. Jonathan thought Mitchell complements his strengths, and another leader in the back three could be big. Because I mentioned when we were at Dartford on Twitter, like he was really vocal, Alex Mitchell, which I don't think is a bad thing at all with our backline and how it had been over the last couple of seasons. So hopefully that will that will help as well. Right, Sky TV deal then. So yesterday was our first experience of it. We've got another one Saturday because we're kicking off 12:30 against Leyton Orient. Not too many of our games have been moved between now and January in terms of ones that were Saturday 3 p.m. We've got another we've got Lincoln away in December, which is going to be a 12:30. But obviously, it's more than we used to, because luckily for us, we've been rubbish for years and we're in League One, so we're not on TV very often. But now it is going to be more often. Tom, I mean, yesterday the day. That's the only thing that ruins an opening day win on the road for me was just the timings were all over the place. The day just dragged on and on and on before the game even kicked off. And then, like I say, I got home not long before 2 a.m. and it just takes the edge off. And trying to sum up the benefits for fans who were able to stay at home and watch it, but for travelling fans, it was a real pain.
Yeah, I think it's another step on the ladder of the fans that are there are the least important ones. And look, I put something on Twitter just to see what people think the benefits are, because I genuinely don't know, because I don't go to every away game, and usually when I don't go to an away game it's because I've got other plans, so I'm not going to be sitting at home and watching it anyway. So I don't really see what the benefit is. If I don't go, it's either because I've got plans or because I can't afford it. And if I can't afford it, I then probably can't afford the Sky subscription either. So that's how I have it. But obviously, I'm one fan out of hundreds of thousands. So I was just interested to see what other people said. A couple of people have come back and said it did benefit them. They were able to watch it because it was on. But then you go, well, okay, what if it was on at 3 o'clock and they change that blackout and just do it then? I suspect the large benefits are for people like Sky. I can't imagine anybody who's not a Charlton fan or a Wigan fan is tuning into that game either. So I don't really see how it grows the league that much. Certainly not to significant numbers. So, yeah, look, I know I'm a bit of a dinosaur in saying football should be 3 p.m. on a Saturday, but as somebody who likes routine and finds that kind of comfort in routine, and I know lots of people do through football, having that messed up is a challenge in itself. But also, like you say, yesterday I got on the coach at 9:30 in the morning. Again, I took the coach because it was the cheaper option than the train. And as Nath said, and struggled with. Getting the train back was a nightmare anyway. And I didn't get home until nearly 2 a.m. So to be out all that for 90 minutes, obviously it helps that we won. It's a long old commitment, and it's just going to put fans off going, I think, ultimately, which is probably what Sky want. But how does that look for the clubs? Because when football was in COVID and there were no fans there, everyone was saying how rubbish the product was because there was no fans in the ground. So it's a difficult balance, because you do want to give people who can't go the opportunity to do it, and I absolutely respect those people that can't go, but I just don't know if this is the answer necessarily. So yeah, it was a long old day.
Yeah, as Mark pointed, talking about how Sky Sports cut off for the last few minutes. I didn't realise this properly until after the game. Loads of people were tweeting me saying like, "What's happening? It's cut off." Obviously that's just not going to happen every game, but that was a bit silly, really, isn't it? Sue pointed out that Nathan Jones did comment about the late kickoff as well. It's just faffing about, so it can't be great for the lads. But I mean, Spam saying UFC fighters have to do fights at 3 a.m. for TV, and money rules all, and that is the case, really, isn't it? James said the only benefit was listening to a neutral commentator who wasn't commentating for radio as well. No offense to our two guys who are great, but yeah, obviously they're tasked with doing something different to what a Sky commentator would be. And yeah, Paul saying benefits for the fans. That's not in Sky's MO. Joe says it's just for the benefits are just for Sky and their shareholders. Yeah, Chris says football should only be live on the telly for the FA Cup final, the Euros final, and World Cup's old school end of. I do feel like I was sitting there on Friday when there's about 4 games on. I think too much football on TV now, which is what obviously people used to say when you used to only get 1 game a season. Maybe my generation's going through that conversation now as well. Right, Birmingham coming to the Valley on Tuesday in the EFL Cup, Nath. Someone told me they signed a new striker, but again, I just don't know who he is. But it'd be interesting to see if he plays. Alfie May. But yeah, what we're saying from our point of view, got to make the changes, get some minutes into legs. It's only the League Cup, we had a great run in it a couple of years ago, or do we put out our strongest team? Let's try and win it. Let's try and win the whole thing.
No, I'd change. I'd do 11 changes. I really would. I don't know if we've got 3 centre halves that we can play though, so I don't know if he'll try and change it up and maybe go to a 4. I don't know. But yeah, I think the main thing for us at the moment, as much as a cup run would be amazing, and the memories from Old Trafford will last forever, I think for now it's just there's no point after no one having 90 minutes, so someone having their first 90 minutes on a Saturday and then putting them through another game on the Tuesday, because you can't sub 11 players. So again, you're going to have someone else doing another 90 on a Tuesday and then doing it again on a Saturday. I think it's just too risky to do that so early in the season. So it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, 11 changes. We win, we don't. Not the end of the world. Alfie will play at some point. I have no doubt about that. I'm pretty sure he'd be demanding that he plays some sort of minutes there. But yeah, I would just get some minutes into the legs, really. It'd be interesting, because I think if there's certain players that didn't appear yesterday, don't appear on Tuesday, likes of we know Ness and Fraser haven't got a squad number, but people like Terry Taylor and Eden and stuff, if they don't play, then that's an interesting point. But yeah, not worried about it. I'll watch it, but I might pop down there depending if I finish work on time. But yeah, not that bothered, to be honest, mate. But just I'd rather people get fit, and then we go again on Saturday with a nice early kickoff this time around.
Yeah, Chris Davin saying agrees with Nathan. Wholesale changes. James reckon that Alfie May won't play for Birmingham. I guess we don't know what sort of plans they've got. And Spam saying, I wonder if he'll get any boos cheering before and after the whistle, but boo him during the game to try and put him off. Yeah, we'll see. Sue saying the only reason you want to win these games is to build momentum. Right, we have come to the end of our first Sunday show of the season. Absolutely flown by, as it often does when we've won a game. So thanks for everyone who's joined us live on YouTube this morning, or who's caught up on catch up after. We had an email from McSquared as well saying what a great away win it was, exactly what you wanted for the first game of the season, and that's exactly what we did want yesterday. We got all 3 points. Thank you to Nathan and to Tom. Good to see the pair of you this morning. Go back to bed now.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Good to see you guys. So I'm Louis Mendes. Don't forget, we'll be back on Thursday then, where we'll look back at the Birmingham Cup game and we'll look ahead to next Saturday's home game with Leighton Orient. We'll look forward to seeing you guys then. See you later.